Now, the interesting thing about that is that he's the chief judge in the courtroom for Fulton County. So basically, he's the highest judge in that county court, one with the most experience, most decorated, and he's the chief judge supposedly. Now, I don't know if he's on his way out or whatever, but this particular case with YSL, he definitely was frustrated a bit, and he was trying to stand on some business. Now, here's the thing: when they filed a motion for recusal, they wanted him to recuse himself. They said no, so they appealed it to for an appellate court to make the decision. Now, the judge that was going to rule on that is the judge Rachel Crouse. Now, here's the interesting thing about this. This judge is actually Rachel Crouse is actually not really a subordinate, but works in the same courthouse as the person she was asked to make a judgment against. And people are like, well, you're not going to rule against, it's like a cop having to rule against his lieutenant. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to do that, right? So people thought, hey, listen, you're going to be biased, so really you should recuse yourself as well. So they didn't want this judge to even make the ruling. They wanted to move it to another a superior court judge from another county, like maybe Cobb County or something like that. Another reason they brought up, they said, why would this judge rule to recuse Judge Glanville when Glanville was running? Because these superior court judges, these are elected officials. Okay, so the judges, some judges are elected, some are appointed. Apparently, when they ran, this judge here that has to rule whether in favor of them or against them donated to them. Now, that becomes a whole long convoluted process, and I'll play a video after this so you could probably get some context to it. Essentially, the law in Georgia said that not because they donated to that previous judge means that they're going to be biased, and if it was a legal donation, they don't have to recuse themselves, because basically it was supposedly said it was a conflict of interest. Some of y'all are probably saying, what the fuck you're talking about? For the people following the case, they know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo that I want you guys to get, kind of get up to speed with, but it's hard because it's just so much bullshit, right? Let me once again explain it in simple terms. Now, why are we here, right? So, essentially, Young Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele, right, which is this guy, the white guy, Brian Steele, made a motion for not only a mistrial, because the mistrial basically saying this trial is just, not going nowhere. We should just pretty much cancel the trial. The motion for mistrial was basically made because this judge had a secret meeting with YSL Woody, Little Woody, this nigga right here who's doing 20v1s. Apparently, this dude was told, he was briefed before that, yo, you got full immunity and you need to testify, because apparently he had gotten a lawyer, and the lawyer was just like, well, he used to really rock with these guys heavily, and maybe perhaps some of the things he testifies to will actually be used against him, so he's probably going to be pleading the fifth, and they're like, yo, we'll just give you immunity, right? Now, this was probably a ploy from Woody to not fully snitch, even though, in my opinion, I think he already snitched. Like, you can't half snitch. Like, I told him some stuff, but I just won't testify and tell him the rest of the stuff. Come on now. Anyway, this judge had a secret meeting with Woody and the prosecutor, and basically told Woody, if you don't testify against Young Thug, we're putting you in jail, right? You need to testify against Young Thug. I guess Woody's lawyer told Young Thug's lawyer, and Young Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele, brought it up in court. The judge got mad, threatened to jail Brian Steele, and also basically kind of denied what that was. Now, they released a transcript, supposedly, of whatever, but the fundamental question actually lied on hey, if y'all had this ex parte, that what they keep talking about, it ex parte, I don't want to drown y'all with legal terminology. Ex parte just means without a party. So there's three parties that are in the court system, right? You have the judge, the defense, and the prosecutor. So if any two of those have any official communication, right, within the confines of the court, right, within the courthouse, for the most part, it's going to be considered ex parte. So if the judge talks to the prosecutor without the presence of the defense, is ex parte. If the judge talks to the defense without yeah, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Now, the whole point that this guy, which is Euro Glanville, he was saying, yeah, I did talk to Woody and Woody's attorney, which is a witness, while the prosecutor was present, right? Which means ex parte, right? Because it's missing a piece, which is the defense attorney. So Young Thug's lawyer wasn't there. But the reason why y'all weren't there is because we were discussing issues that y'all got nothing to do with. What issues? The judge was claiming that, he was backing up what the prosecutor was mentioning, that the prosecutor was saying that you could be held in contempt, which means we could jail you if you don't testify against Young Thug, and also your other issues might get fucked up if you get held in contempt. You get what I'm saying? And that was supposedly the nature of the ex parte meeting, except like Lil Woody said allegedly some stupid shit like, why would I testify or blame somebody for a crime that I know I did? And there was this whole thing supposedly that he admitted to a murder. We haven't really seen proof of that. But regardless, Brian Steele came into court, which is Young Thug's lawyer, and said, yo, if y'all had a secret meeting, from what we heard, y'all were pressuring that man to testify. Again, if he don't want to testify, you could jail him, but you shouldn't be able to pressure him to get on the stand that you could carry on with the case. And essentially, that's one of the things that they wanted a mistrial on. The judge basically said no to the mistrial, threatened to lock this guy up. They appealed and submission motions to recuse the judge. Glanville actually sent the motion up to another judge, and finally, this is where we are with this. Okay, it says, defendant Diamante Kendrick's motion to recuse Chief Glanville is granted. Caleb Bumpus, which was Woody's lawyer, or one of them, motion to squash the show cause order and recuse Judge Glanville is denied as moot, basically saying Judge Glanville has already been recused based on this motion, so no need to rule on this motion because it's already satisfied. So defendant Jeffrey Williams, which is Young Thug, motion to disqualify/recuse Glanville from all further dealings in the above referenced case as amended and supplemented is granted. So this judge will pretty much never be seen back in court with Thug. Okay? It says the clerk of the court shall reassign this case using the court's case assignment procedure. And basically what that meant is that the original judge is no longer in the case. Now, before, I don't want to get too much into the woods with this. And again, I got a video for me to play that's going to explain it to you. Now, remember some of the grim or dark, predictions I had about this whole case. It's definitely lightened with this. Like, for example, remember I said they keep filing for a mistrial, but when they're filing for a mistrial, if you feel the judge is corrupt, the judge is the one ruling on the mistrial. So you're not going to get anywhere. Here's the thing. That judge is off. The next time they file for a mistrial, this new judge is going to be taken to it. And by the way, they don't have any skin in the game. One of the reasons I felt that Glanville never really said anything is because he had too much skin in the game because he'd been working this case for 2 years. He's been the judge for 2 years, so he's a little bit irritable. He's a bit this, he's a bit that. So, again, with the new judge, you got no skin in the game. There's no ego to be hurt. When they bring up motions, which I imagine they would, to dismiss the case, or for a mistrial, he might consider it and actually grant it. Okay. All right. Let me play this.
Maya knows how quality care can bring out a...
Again, I'm sorry for all the ads.
Go back to Law and Crime. This just in for Young Thug racketeering case. We have got a decision by a judge outside of that of Judge Glanville that he is now recused. I have literally just gone over the motion now, and I'm going to go over it with you myself bit by bit. Starting first with the finding of facts. We all know what the facts were. There was an ex parte, meaning one of the parties, that being all of the defense attorneys, were not present for this meeting with Kenneth Copeland. Judge Glanville, along with the prosecution and Kenneth Copeland's attorney, had this in-chambers meeting talking about him pleading the fifth for about let's say 4 pages. So about four or so pages, just the facts as we remember them. This meeting happened. Glanville went back and forth deciding, is this person going to testify? You cannot plead the fifth. The prosecution, as we saw the transcripts that were later released, kept pressing. You've got immunity. You cannot be prosecuted for this in any way, shape, or form. And that means you have to testify. Ultimately, that meeting was not expressed in detail to the defense until Brian Steele, the defense attorney for Young Thug, raised this issue. Following that, multiple defense attorneys filed motions for recusal as timely and supported by an affidavit of his own factual allegations mandating his recusal. What that basically means in English, he played both witness, judge,